call the meeting to order. Please mute your cell phone if you would. And Becky, would you do roll call?
Bob Olson,
Present.
Tom Kitson,
Present.
Jack Scrogstad,
Here.
Mike Copine,
Here.
Mike Zeman, Jim Sheeline.
Here.
Tom Wilson.
All right. We'll go
I
to
think Tom
public
is
attendance.
on.
What's that?
I think Tom is on, so. Okay.
I think he had to go somewhere. He told me at 11, so I'm not sure. We'll go to number 3, public attendees. Anyone that's not a board member or department head, would they like to speak at this time? Mike, go ahead.
My name is Mike Hermes. Sorry for you guys that heard this already. But I'm with some Amboy residents that we're concerned with the cell tower that's going to go right in behind our houses, 5G tower. And our concerns are, that the health issues with it being right in our neighborhood. We're just looking to get it moved away from our houses. We're estimating about 75 houses that are going to be affected by it. And we just would like it moved away from our, the residential area more. We had 25 people at a meeting Sunday, and there's a bunch more that have joined our mission. So anyway, we're just bringing it to your attention. It hasn't been applied for yet, apparently, but it's gonna be, and we're just trying to get on top of it. So we just want to make you aware of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Anybody else? Oh, good. All right. We'll go to the approval of minutes. If there's no changes or corrections for the June 15th meeting, we'll let them stand as presented. Anybody have any changes or corrections? Yes.
I actually have one change because Mike Book sat in for Jim Sheeline last month and I don't have him in there, so I will make that change. I noticed that myself. So.
Thank you. Any other changes? All right. Do we need a motion to approve them with the changes? Okay. We'll go down to reports. Mr. Zeman, Claims Committee.
Thank you. We met twice. Oh, yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay, we met twice, once on June 21st. We approved 51 out of 52 claims. The last claim didn't belong to us. It went right to the treasurer's office, so we took care of that. The second meeting was on July 5th. We went through 40 claims and all 40 were forwarded to the full county board. That's it.
Any questions for Mike? Thanks, Mike. We'll go to Mr. Scrogstad for County Services.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. County Services met July 10th. And what I did prior to our meeting is I asked all the department heads if they would provide a written report along with their oral report that they would be giving. So that way that the public could see, their report online along with the agenda packet when it becomes made public. So that way they can get credit for what each department is doing and what they give. And so with that, you're more than welcome to go back to the County Services agenda packet and look at all the reports that were being conducted. And if you have any questions on that, you can give me a call or give me a call, but you can ask me right now. You know what I'm saying.
Any questions? Thanks, Jack. Mr. Copine, Public Safety and Court Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Safety met July 10th. It was a relatively short meeting. We heard department head reports. There was nothing from the public. Animal Control was not here to comment. We did hear from Circuit Clerk, judges, coroner, and public defender had no one to report. EMA was here and reported. All of this information is available from, or will be available from the website. We heard from probation, the sheriff, state's attorney, and a short report on the abandoned property focus group. We had nothing for unfinished business. The only thing that we took action on was the safety manual that Wendy had explained about, and we did have a motion and that did pass, and it was moved on to the executive committee, and that's all I have.
Any questions for Mike? Thanks, Mike. We'll go to Mr. Wilson for the Facilities and Maintenance Committee.
We met and we were discussing some projects that are coming down the pike for us. We had Doug from Allied is supposed to be getting back to us this week to where we can get some solid numbers from the Allied to get so we can proceed with the project there at the new courts building, getting as much of the HVAC project done as possible. We're just trying to get budget numbers from him. Dean Friel's working on the wall in between the 911 and our and our old LEC. Jeff and Greg have been doing a good job there getting that RFP for the VAV project out for bids, and we're working on the boiler thing right now. But other than that, that's all we have.
You're working on the boiler thing? Is that you're going to bid them out, or what are you going to do with that?
Yes, the boiler project's already been approved by the board, and so was the VAVs, but we're going to go out for those now because we don't have a clear and concise direction that we're going yet with Allied, and we want to get these boilers ordered so we can make sure we get them in before the heating season. So we're doing the boiler project and the VAV project, which have both been approved by the board. So we're going to put those two projects out for bid, and as soon as we possibly can. We're hoping by the end of July to have those out for bid.
All right. Any other questions? Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Mr. Sheeline.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee met this morning at 9 o'clock. Pretty light schedule. Went over, Paul was gone, so I gave the treasurer's report. Short of that is revenues are still holding strong. The story that I kind of emphasized on is our expenditures for a year. We're running about 39% left of budget, which is a little bit concerning where we're at as far as, the time that we have left. So we're running, our expenses are running ahead of budget, which has a little concerning. But overall, depending on where some of the projects Tom just placed as far as capital goes, we'll see where we're at by the end of the fiscal year in that regard. We had an quarterly update from ARPA that Sarah gave us. She went through the expenditures to date from ARPA. And then we had an executive session in regards to purchase of property. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions or comments? Thanks, Jim. We'll go to old business. The after action review, the COVID discussion. I don't have anything to bring forward at this time, so we're still working on that. We'll go to new business, the MOU with Lee County Tourism. I'm going to tag Wendy on that. Wendy, you want to tell us where we're at with that?
So I might just be tagging Tom Kitson, but I'll give it a kickoff here. Okay, Tom? The MOU's in your packet. This is a result of, essentially, it's the agreement between Lee County Tourism and the Lee County Board on how we're going to go through the next 6 months and the steps that it's going to take to transition the tourism program over from Lee County Tourism and back to the county. And then we'll be bringing forward in the next month or two from the tourism focus group our goals and intentions with how we think we're going to run the tourism program going forward. Many of you have probably heard us talk about Discover Dixon. We're currently in conversations and discussions with them on contracting with them for parts of that. You'll be seeing that memorandum of understanding or agreement come forward in the next month or two. Tom, do you want to add anything?
Other than the Lee County Tourism has agreed with us on the memorandum of understanding, and we'll be cutting them off the end of September. And they passed that at their meeting last night, so we should be voting on some of that next week.
Yep. And on a related note, the ordinance that the board tabled, I believe it was 2 months ago, but you tabled it, which will, of course, be effective November 30th of this year. That's the ordinance that changes, again, the overall program of tourism, because right now, our ordinance says we're going to give 50% to the city of Dixon and 50% to Lee County Tourism. So obviously, we need to refresh that ordinance. We'll be looking to take that off the table at the upcoming board meeting and act upon that, again, effective November 30th.
All right. Any questions, comments from everybody? All right. We'll move down to new business under B. We've got review of state statute 55 ILCS 5/5-12001.1, the telecommunication towers. Alice, do you want to take this?
Yes. Good morning. As you guys have heard, there is a potential cell phone tower that will be coming into the Amboy area. No application has been received by the county at this time, so the information that we do have regarding this tower is very limited. But we thought we'd take the time to at least educate the board as to the statute that dictates what the county is to do with these types of uses. I've given you a handout. The first two pages essentially is definitions that will apply to the section. You go into paragraph D, and this list, this directs the company in choosing a location for the site. The most desirable site being a non-residentially zoned lot. The least desirable being a residentially zoned lot that is less than 2 acres in size and is used for residential purposes. You go into paragraph E, and this instructs the applicant or developer as to what they will need to prove in order to meet the requirements. So this will require a public hearing. It requires a special use, and so at the hearing, they will be asked to present the evidence that they have met these requirements. In paragraph F, this section does apply to the county as are based on when the statute dates and when this tower is being constructed. Paragraphs 1 through 9 under this section instruct the county on how to consider the applications that are coming in. So it tells you, we have to set aside certain rules of ours, such as setbacks and other zoning requirements per the state statute. So this section directs the county on how it should respond. Paragraph 10 of that same section is directed at the applicant, and that's just directing them on how to notify with regards to these projects. Paragraph G, this section also applies to Lee County as Lee County has a population less than 180, which is required by this section. And this tells the county what it must consider when making its vote. Paragraph 1 lists 2 stipulations, one being a height limitation, paragraph B being the setback. If a proposed tower meets these criteria, then it's pretty much met what is required by the state. If it does not meet A and B, then we go on to paragraph 3, and the county must consider these factors when proceeding. So they'll have to consider the siting consideration, the criteria that was previously mentioned, which determines the most desirable site, whether there's any substantial adverse effect on public safety that is specific to the design and construction of the tower. It does not reference any of the health concerns that are being cited to be considered under this public safety paragraph. Paragraph C under this section directs the county to consider whether public safety and emergency response capabilities will benefit from this type of establishment. Paragraph D asks the county board to consider the existing uses on adjacent and nearby properties. And paragraph E says to the extent to which the design of the proposed facility reflects compliance with the previous subsection E. So this is what the county board will have to use as its basis for making its decision on a cell phone tower hearing. The paragraph H does not apply to Lee County because this section only applies to counties that have a population more than 180. Under paragraph I, we just get into some more of the specifics regarding the notification, when it must occur, how it should occur, and what must be included in that notice. I have additionally given you a handout. It's actually out of Lake County, but I just want to illustrate to you that we are not the only county that is facing these same issues with regards to telecommunication facilities. And what they have referenced on their sheet is in line with what we will have to do based on the state statute. We are trying to contact the company to see if there is anything that we can do to alleviate the concerns. Unfortunately, we may not have a lot that we can do for this. But we will still try. At this point in time, with leases being in place with a private landowner and it being as far in the process, we are going to, the zoning office, myself, will speak to the company and will talk to them about a more, or I guess a less populated proposed location for this turbine or this tower to see if that is a possibility. There is no guarantee with that. That will have to be up to the company, but we will talk to them and let them know the concerns of the county, the concerns of the public, to see if there's anything we can do as far as moving this tower. However, there may be little that the county can do in the long run. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. This thing from Lake County, can we adopt this, or is this just what they do?
This is based on the statute. We can do something similar to this if the board wishes.
Any questions or comments?
Subdivision we're talking about is designated R1, R2, whatever.
It is actually within the city of Amboy's jurisdiction,
Okay.
so, but it is
The
residential.
property is Ag 1.
Correct.
Is there any restrictions to putting something, does that have to be, that footprint have to be rezoned to
They just,
commercial or?
nope, they just need to acquire a special use permit.
Special use? Okay. Just at the
How else are we going to be subjected to the same authority regulations that we are now with solar as far as setback or guidelines, even with cellular? And I'm just referring to the example of the setback with solar. We had at county level 400 feet, and it has now changed because of the state issues on it and lowered it to 150. Are we down the road going to be strapped with the same parameters for cellular as we are now with solar? As far as
Well,
authorization of how to put it in?
Technically, we already are. This is very similar to how the state has handled wind and solar. They just did this a while ago, but essentially they set forth how the county is to handle these matters and the county is supposed to follow suit, similar to wind and solar.
So regardless then with what we do have as far as pertaining to cellular, if we were to decide to change that and it would supersede what the state has on record, we couldn't do it.
We could not do it. It would have to be consistent with what the state has already approved in this statute. And there is actually talk of updating our ordinance so that it is in compliance with what the state requires.
Okay, thank you.
Without looking through every section of this Lake County one, is it pretty much what the state calls for? You know, comparing each little section, you know, and comparing it to every state requirement, is that what they're saying in Lake County?
Yes, they're referencing what they're required to do per the statute. In this side of the sheet, on the bottom left-hand corner, where our telecommunication facility is allowed in unincorporated Lake County. This is the same guidelines that Lee County would have to follow for unincorporated Lee County.
So whether we adopt this same language here, it's pretty much the same as what the state statute.
Yeah, and
says. So,
if we were to do something similar, it wouldn't be identical to this. We'd have to make sure it's specific to Lee County, but it would follow a similar format.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Thanks, Alice. We'll go down to C, the contract with Chastain Associates. Alice, I'll probably have you explain that as well, and we'll go through that. I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at it. Go ahead, Alice.
I'm not sure she heard you, Bob. She was talking to Dean.
Sorry.
He's looking for you to review the Chastain topic.
Oh, okay. With regards to the Chastain and Associates contract, under the GSG conditions that were approved under the special use permit, we are allowed to retain the services of a third-party engineer. This contract would allow us to engage with Chastain and Associates for that purpose. There is no cost to the county for these services. It is required through the condition that the company pay for these services. So under this contract, those invoices will go directly from Chastain to GSG, and GSG will pay them directly. So the county will not be involved at all with the payment process. They will be issuing us regular reports to keep us updated on the progress of the construction.
Any questions about that or comments? It would be a good time to bring us up to speed on the recent developments with GSG. Do you want to feel comfortable talking about that?
Sure. We ran into a little hiccup earlier this week regarding setback waivers. For the most part, it has been resolved. They did provide me some updated site maps with updated setbacks. We are now down to 4 turbines that still will need waivers for non-participating landowners. All other turbines are good to go, and our office has started issuing permits for those 9 turbines that have met all the requirements while we wait for the other 4 waivers to come in.
Thank you. Any questions?
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
Bob? So I just think it's with Chastain, I mean, having third-party protection for the county is something we've been wanting to do for the last, I mean, I think it's a great thing that we're doing that. I mean, that's what we need to do is protect ourselves. And really, it doesn't cost us anything. It's just making sure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing on the other end. So I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we got experts out there looking at stuff and they can decide. So,
Yep.
I think they're going to share that report with me, Alice, and you. Should I share that with the executive as I get it? Is that something you guys would like to see? Yeah. All right.
yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Alice. Appointments. I have no appointments for July. Raffle reports, we got 4.
Bob, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm going back to appointments. I did receive one in the mail today,
Okay.
and it has to do with a reappointment for Compton Fire Protection District. And it's Wesley Engelhart that was already in office, and they're requesting a 3-year
Term.
term, thank you, that expired on May 1, 2023.
So back to our whole discussion about having this request for appointment form filled out so that you all know a little bit about the candidates. We've been relaxing a bit on those that are reappointments. So we are looking, Nancy and I are looking for your direction as to whether you want us to go forward or you want to go back to the drawing board and ask for that request for appointment form, which we didn't receive because we just got it today.
My opinion is, I guess it could be just the new appointments, and we want to know something about the IR if they've been there a while. I understand why they're reluctant to do it, especially some of them been on them boards 30 years. It'd be,
In this particular case, this person hasn't even been asked to do it because we just got it today. However, the appointment does date back to May. So if we wait another month to do this, they're going to end up without a trustee on the fire department for another month. So we're just looking for your okey dokey to go ahead and add this to the agenda without that form.
I'm fine with that as well, if that makes sense.
I'm comfortable with it.
all right. Anything else, Nancy?
Thank you. No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay. Go back to the raffle reports. We got 4, June Walton Fest raffle report, honorary flight raffle report, VFW booze wagon raffle report, and the VFW hog gun raffle report. Is there a motion to put all 4 of these on file with the county?
So moved.
Mr. Kitson moves.
Second.
Mr. Scrogstad seconds it. Any discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll go down to review of the per diem report for the county board. This is just for informational purposes. Everybody gets a chance to look at it. Any corrections? All right. Okay. Looked good to me, so. All right. Executive session, I don't have anything. We do? All right. Is there a motion to enter executive session 5 ILS 120/2.06 for the purpose of examining past executive session minutes?
So moved.
I got Mr. Kitson moved and Mr. Copine seconded, I think. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Roll call, thank you. You're right.
Show off.
I'm just,
I remember this.
I just get in a hurry, Yes.
Bob Olson, Tom Kitson,
Yes.
Jack Scrogstad,
Yes.
Mike Copine,
Yes.
Mike Zeman,
Yes.
Jim Sheeline.
Yes.
Tom Wilson.
Yes.
Before the department heads leave, did anybody have anything they want to share with us? You come back. I apologize. I didn't ask anybody.